Hi everyone, it's Audrey from Country Stampers. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And today I have this cute little gift pack that you could give out to one of your friends or a coworker. Um, it's this cute little tote bag, and inside I have 4 of these little gift, not gift cards, but note cards. And it says, just for you. And how simple and quick this is to put together and just to give out as a little gift. You could make it up for a birthday, anniversary, thank you cards, thinking of you, just for you. You know, there's so many endless possibilities. You can even just use the tote bag and put some of that wrinkle paper in there and, you know, use it for candies. Give it, you know, as an Easter basket for a little girl. You know, there's so many different things you can do with these. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using 3 different stamp sets. I have the birthday blooms, I have teeny tiny wishes, and I also have one of our Sale-A-Bration stamp sets, Flowering Fields. The birthday blooms is from our occasions catalog. Teeny tiny wishes is from our annual catalog, and then I have a Sale-A-Bration catalog item. So remember, every $50 you spend, you could get this set for free. So, and then I'm also using some designer series paper from one of our color collections, and it's from our Substyles, and I'm using the Wisteria Wonder. And what I love about this paper is you have print on both sides. So as you can see, my sample I actually did with the wording on the outside, and I put the polka dots on the inside. This one, I think I'm actually going to put the polka dots on the outside of this one. So what you're going to need is a piece of designer series paper, which is cut at hold on, 3.5 by 12 inches of the DSP. You're going to need 2 strips of the DSP cut at 1/2 inch by 12 inch. And you're going to need the corresponding paper cut at 1/2 inch by 8.5, or you can even make these 6 inches. My pattern, I'm using the 8.5. And then I have, this is the base, which you're going to score on all 4 sides at 1/2 inch. This measures 2.5 by 5.25. And then I have my scraps of Whisper White and my Wisteria Wonder for stamping and punching. We're going to use the 1 3/4 scallop punch for the tag. Alright, so let me grab my score pal, my scoring tool, and let's see. And then I'm going to just take my base of my tote bag, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Right now we are getting some winter weather, so my daughters had no after school programs today. They got canceled, so they're home. I was hoping to have the video all done before they got home. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of your scissors, and you're going to cut up on each one of these score lines on the long side, right to the next score line. And I like to just give mine a little trim. on all 4 tabs. I can hear my daughters running up and down the stairs right now. And they have my dogs barking. So you're just going to do that on all 4 tabs. You can hear my youngest daughter out in the hallway saying shh. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm back now. Alright, so my oldest daughter was actually taking my bigger dog out for me. So she was just bringing him in. Alright, so now you're going to fold on all those score lines, giving it a nice crease. And you can go back and fold over these little tabs. I know it's been a couple of days since I did a video. I have been down with a head cold, and so I wasn't really able to talk very much. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of our tear and tape, and I'm just going to put a piece on each one of these tabs. And when you're putting this on and you're tearing it off, just be very careful. Make sure you're holding your tab, because those tabs are so small you'd end up tearing them off, and you don't want to do that. All right, and I'm going to just take my bone folder, press down on that tear and tape, and then I'm going to grab my little piercing tool and pick the covering of the tape off. Oh, my daughter is now singing to our pups. So, all right. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to fold it over and line up these edges. And we're not going to worry if it's even or not on the top here, because that's not even going to show. So we just want to make sure that we're lined up on our edges here. And then just do that on all 4 sides. All right. So now we have our base to our tote all finished. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab one of my 1/2 inch by 12 inch strips, and I am actually going to put some more tear and tape on that. You can also use the fast fuse if you wanted to on this part. So I prefer to use the tear and tape. Alright, so now I'm going to peel this off. And I'm actually going to put this across the top section of my bag. And I'm going to make sure my words are going in the right direction. Now I'm not going to do the bottom piece, because I'm going to wait until I put that on the box. So that way if I don't get it completely lined up going around the rim of the box. Alright, so there we go. So now I'm going to see where I want to add my tape. And I'm going to add my tape on one side and across the bottom. Once you make one of these, they go pretty quick. And I actually have made a smaller version of these that I've used as little treat holders for Thanksgiving, which I will do a video on those for you, to give you a couple of more ideas. Oh, and I normally, when I pulled off that end, I usually wait until after I get closer. So just a little hint, pull it off after. And now I'm just going to line up my edge of my paper with the edge of the box. And now I'm just going to nicely wrap it around, lining it up and taking my time. And then I'm going to pinch right on that first corner. Make sure I have a nice seal. And then I'm going to wrap it around again on the next corner, lining it up. And go nice and gentle with this paper because you'll end up creasing it. So you want to make sure you don't do that. I'm just keeping it nice and even. Giving it a little bit of a seal. Again, pinch that corner. And then around this next one. And now you see where this tape is actually going to overlap right here on the back side of the box. Just like that. So I like to have my seam in the back. You can start it on the side if you want. You know, I have seen a couple of videos where they've started it on the seam. And I just prefer mine to be on the back. So, and as I don't remember if I stated you needed 3 of these DSPs at 12 inches by a ½ inch. Or if I just stated 2, but you need 3 of them, and one of mine is a little bit off, so I'm going to use that one for the inside. This one I'm going to use for the outside. Yeah, this one. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run some more tear and tape right down this. Now this is going to go on the bottom of the bag to give it a nice finished look. And I just love this Wisteria Wonder. It's so pretty. And I think these would be great for little Easter baskets for the kids, you know, or even to, you know, make a get well little basket for somebody. So, all right. So now I'm going to line this up in the back. I'm going to line it right up here with my edge. So this way it's even. And I don't have any staggering seams. And I can actually see where I did not line it completely up with the bottom of my box. So I'm going to come down just a little bit to give it that finished edge. And you're going to do it in the same way that you did the base of the bag. And just continue to wrap around, lining it up. And the only thing working with this tear and tape is once it goes down, it's very hard to get back up. So be very careful with that. So now we're going to reach around and it's going to overlap. And I actually did mine wrong. I should have. There we go. You're not really going to see it because it's on the back side. But there, now you are got the base of your bag done. And I'm just going to put my hand in here and just push down on the inside to make sure I have a good bond. See? All right. So now we'll set that aside. And you're going to bring in your 2 pieces of Wisteria Wonder, ½ inch by 8.5. And I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to lightly curl them both. And you're also going to need our mini brads. You can use our candy dot brads as well. And, you know, you can add a candy dot to them to match the bag if you'd like. You can even take some glue and glue these on and then put the candy dots on them if you wanted to. I'm just going to use my piercing tool and I'm going to pierce. straight through, right through, and then I'm going to add a brad. That was my daughter stopping in to bring me something. All right, so, oops, and you just push your brad through, and I open it so it goes side to side, so it's easier to cover up when I put my inner piece in. And I'm making sure that I line this up, and I'm keeping it even with this little base. And I actually maybe went a little too far over with that, so that's actually going to pull up on me. All right, so maybe we should cut this down to 6.5. All right, let me go and do that. Okay, so I cut it down to 6.5, and I'm not liking it. But we're just going to go ahead and finish up this bag. And, you know, it's on you. You can either do the 6.5 or 8.5. I would maybe even try maybe 7.5. So, I mean, I have one now that's done at 6.5 and one that's going to be done, one that's done at 8.5. So, I also, on my other one, had actually put my handles on the inside, where this one I'm putting them on the outside. So that even might make a difference too. So it's all up on you. I'll show you again at the end of the video the one that I made for the sample. So, all right. So now I'm putting in my last brad. And there we go. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. It kind of looks kind of cute like that. All right. So now to finish off, and I would probably actually, if you're going to put them on the outside, I would probably glue these on first and then use some of our Tombow adhesive. Glue these into place first, then put the brads in so it stops them from moving around. It's actually up to you. So, and then on this piece here, all you're going to do is, now I want the polka dots to show. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to put your adhesive on the letter side, and then you're just going to line it up and go all the way around the inside, like so. I'm actually not going to do it on video to save some time, but you can just line it in. You can, again, use the wet adhesive and see how nice of a finished edge that's going to give it. Actually, you know what? Let me just go ahead and do that. So let's put some of the tear and tape. And I would probably use the wet adhesive on this part too, but for video purposes, right now I'm just going to use the tear and tape, because that way it's easier for you to work around and you don't have to worry about it adhering too soon. So, and again, I'm going to start this right in the back, and I'm just going to line it up with that seam and just work myself around nice and slow, taking my time, making sure it lines up. And here around the handles is going to be a little bit tricky because they want to be in your way. And that's all you're going to do is just go right around that rim. Work your way around. And it hides those brads, the brad backings. And there we go. Now that is complete, and I'm just going to push around, making sure it adheres here. And there you go. So now I'm going to use For You from the Birthday Blooms, but I'm also going to use this flower from the Flowering Fields. Now on this flower, I'm actually using the 3 colors here. I'm using Wisteria Wonder, Old Olive and Basic Gray. So what I'm doing on the Basic Gray, grab a scrap piece of paper here and my stamp. I'm actually going to stamp ink up my stamp, and then I'm just going to lightly tap off and then tap to the paper. So that way I'm getting a second generation stamping. So that way it's a little bit lighter. Now I'm going to grab the Wisteria Wonder and the For You, and I'm just going to stamp right in the center, as even as you know, as straight as I can. And there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually waiting for some new punches to come in for my circles. So I am actually using my circle framelits, and it's going to be the third one from the center that I'm using. And I'm going to go over to my Big Shot, and I'm actually going to line this up and cut this out. Okay, I will be right back. Alrighty. Okay, I'm back now, and so what we're going to do is now I'm going to close up my ink, and I'm going to grab my 1 3/4 punch. And sorry about my daughter keep coming into my room. And then I'm just going to punch that out. Set my punch aside. Set that aside. And I'm going to grab my dimensionals, and I'm going to just go ahead and pop these up and put it on right about there. And I like that the flower is off-centered a little bit. It just adds just that final touch to it. And then I'm going to add dimensionals on each side. And then I'm going to add this to the front of my bag, right there in the center, and give that a nice push. And now our bag is complete. So let's set that aside and close up my brads. Now for the card, we are going to just make this cute, simple little note card. And you are going to need a piece of Whisper White, and this is cut at 6.5 by 4.5, scored at 3 1/4. You're going to need a mat size cut at 3 inches by 4 1/4 of Whisper White. Then your Wisteria Wonder mat is cut at 3 1/2 by 2 1/4, and another piece of Whisper White cut at 2 inches by 3 1/4. Now, on this, we're actually going to do some coloring. So this is not one of our Stampin' Up! Ones. This is one that my daughter had. I'm waiting for some new ones to come in. So I'm going to use that. And I'm going to grab my Basic Gray and my flower stamp again. And now this one I'm actually going to just regular stamping, and I'm going to line it up. I'm going to make sure I have room for my saying at the bottom, center it, and that is done. Now I'm going to, from Teeny Tiny Wishes, Just For You, and I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp that right down on the bottom in the center. And now all my stamping is complete. So now let me get that out of the way. Oh, I have to take that. That's my husband. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, but my husband is actually on his way home from work, and he was calling to make sure our daughters came home early. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually I'm using the Old Olive and the Wisteria Wonder. And this has a little bit of water in it, and I'm just going to make sure that it has some coming out to the tip. Not a lot, just enough to give me that water-based look. And I have a scrap piece of paper right here. And I'm just going to grab some ink. And what I like to do is I want to give it like a faded look and a dark look. So I'm just going to color in the bottom parts of my little flower here. And if you notice, I'm leaving the top part of this little bloom not colored. And I'll show you why in a minute. Because I'm actually going to kind of try to give it another look. So while I still have a lot of the color on here, I'm just going to come into the center here. And I'm going to start to work my way up. And you can actually start to see it lighten, I hope, on here. Probably not. Alright. No, it's not giving it that look. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to grab a little bit of more, but I'm going to go over to my scrap. And I'm going to start coloring it out until it starts to lighten up. And then I'm just going to come in. And I'm going to just give it a hint of color to the top. And I'm getting a little bit too much water. That's why I don't like using an off-brand of these, is because they're not the same like ours are. So they tend to give a little more water. Alright, so now I could go back in and darken it up a little more if I wanted to, but I am not using our watercoloring paper, so I kind of don't want to make sure I get too much on there. So now I'm going to grab our old olive, and I'm going to ink up real good. And yeah, I have a lot of water on there. So let me just grab some more now. And I'm just going to lightly, barely touching it, come down with a nice little thin line down the stem. Just kind of highlighting that stem down. And then I'm going to brush out onto my leaves. And again, I'm going to leave the top part. And I'm just going to come back in with it while it lightens up. So you can go in and darken. And then you can come in with a little bit of a lighter to give it that extra shadowing. And there we go. Now that is all finished, and I'm just going to let that dry a little bit before I move on to the next step. So I'm actually going to use my Winka Stella. It's, new with us, and I have the clear. I'm just going to give it a shake. And this is going to add a nice little shiny glitter. I don't know if you can see that, to my image here. And I'm just going to brush it a little bit on spots, not all the way around it, just to add some glitter. And I think mostly doing it on the darker parts. And there we go. Now I'm just going to let that dry while I put the rest of the card together. So I'll move that off to the side. Close up my ink. Move my scrap so I don't get ink on that. And I'm going to fold my card. Now remember, I scored it already at 3 1/4. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to crease my score line. And then I'm going to bring in my white piece and my Wisteria Wonder. And with some snail, I'm going to add this piece right to the first mat. Trying to keep it as even as I can all the way around. And it's about a 1/2 inch border. Mine looks a little bit crooked. And I'm not going to let it bother me. And then I'm going to take some dimensionals here. And I'm going to pop this up. You don't have to, it all depends on, if you want to add an extra dimensional area to your card. I like these. These are probably something that my recipient will just hand out personally to a friend or, a coworker. So, and I'm just going to put that right down onto that card. Now, this is probably still a little bit damp, so very gently I'm going to lay it down. And I'm going to add a few more dimensionals. And I like to add 5 to give it that extra stability so it doesn't get squashed down. So, and then I'm just going to peel these off. Now, we do sell the note cards in our catalog. These ones I just made. The ones in our catalog come with the envelopes. But if you wanted to make them yourself, you can always buy our envelope paper and the envelope punch board, and you can make your own envelopes to go with your cards. So now here is a card for our little tote bag, and it just fits perfectly in there. And all you need to do is make 3 more in the envelopes, and you're all set to give that to a friend or somebody, you know, whatever you'd like. So if you would be interested in ordering any of the products, please stop over to my store. I would love to have you, you know, become a customer. And I'm also got a great surprise. So let me move this ball out of the way. And nope, that is not the stamp set. See if I can find it. I have a giveaway for you. All you need to do is stop over to my blog under this post on my blog and leave me a comment. Make sure you become a follower and leave me a comment below, and I will pick a winner on, let's see, what's the date today? Today is the 23rd. On March 8th, I will pick a winner for this Sale-A-Bration stamp set from this year, and it's a great you know, sentiments for you. So if you'd like to win the set, remember, stop over to my blog, leave a comment underneath this post, and I will pick a winner on March 8th. And good luck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Happy crafting. Bye.